Hey everybody, and welcome back for another deep dive. You know what we're doing here today? We are diving into John chapter 16,
Oh, yeah.
verses 5 through 16.
It's a good one.
It's a really good one. It's one that I think we can all relate to on some level, and we're going to be talking all about the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
So this is a really fascinating passage because, Jesus is saying goodbye to his disciples, and he's like, hey, I'm about to, head out.
Yeah, things are going to get kind of rough.
But don't worry,
Yeah.
something even better is coming.
It's kind of like when a professor is like, oh, by the way, this is going to be on the test. And you're like, what are you talking about?
Right.
It's going to get harder, but then there's going to be the ultimate study guide.
Totally. The ultimate study guide. So he's basically saying like, hey, I know you're freaking out right now. Trust me on this one. You're going to want the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, what's so interesting here is how he frames it, because he doesn't say, listen, I'm leaving. You're on your own. Good luck. He says, I'm sending you somebody. It's an advocate. It's a counselor. The word that's often used is comforter.
Right.
And I think that brings such a sense of peace and guidance in the face of uncertainty.
Absolutely. And he even says it's better for him to go, that the
Wow.
Holy Spirit can come. And that's just wild to me because you're kind of a big deal.
Well, and that's what I think people have been wrestling with for, 2,000 years. It's like, what does that mean? But he does give us some very specific roles that the Holy Spirit will play, and he kind of outlines those for us. He says that the Holy Spirit will convict the world of sin, will reveal God's goodness, and will deliver from judgment. And so I think when we look at those three things, we start to get a clearer picture of, okay, it's this active presence in the world that is constantly reminding us of truth.
It's like our internal compass in a sense, there to guide us to make sure that we're living a life that's in line with God's will.
Absolutely. And I mean, think about how often we get that wrong. We need that guidance.
Yeah. And then he says this really interesting line that always kind of like makes me pause and think. And he says that the Holy Spirit will guide us to all truth, not some truth.
Right.
All truth.
All of it.
So does that mean that, like, as Christians, we're never going to make mistakes, or is it something bigger than that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. And if we knew the answer to that, we'd probably be, selling tickets somewhere. I think it's the idea that this is an unfolding story, that we are constantly growing closer to God, and that we will never reach a point in this life, this side of heaven, where we've got it all figured out, where we know all truth.
Right.
But that there is a constant revealing.
Absolutely. And that the Holy Spirit is there to, like, help us.
Illuminate the path as we're going. It's not like we're just trying to arrive at some destination.
Yeah.
It's that we're enjoying the process of growing closer to God
Yeah.
and allowing the Holy Spirit to work in and through us.
That's really good. And I think, to that point, he also talks about how the Holy Spirit will bring glory to Jesus. So can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because at first glance, it's kind of like, okay, it's like the Holy Spirit is like Jesus's PR agent or something.
Right? Right. Like a publicist.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you got to make me look good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's quite what's going on here, though. I think it's this idea that the more we understand, the more we experience God through the Holy Spirit,
Right.
the more we see the glory of God revealed in Jesus, in his life, in his death, and his resurrection.
So it's kind of like a spotlight in a way.
Yeah, it's illuminating who Jesus is.
Yeah. That's really good. I like that. And I think this has been so insightful. But I do have one final question.
Sure.
If the Holy Spirit is our guide, if we're supposed to be listening to that voice, how do we discern that voice? Because there's so much noise.
Oh, there is so much noise.
In the world today, there are so many voices competing for our attention.
Absolutely. How do we discern the voice of the Holy Spirit from all of the other voices that are coming at us from every direction?
Right.
And I don't know that there's any easy answer to that. I think it's a lifelong practice
Yeah.
of cultivating silence,
Yeah.
of cultivating a deeper awareness of God,
Yeah.
of being in the scriptures, of being in prayer, and then learning to listen to that still small voice.
It's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life and just tune everything out.
It is.
But I think, this passage is a good reminder that we need to be intentional about creating space
Absolutely.
to listen for that voice.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that is all the time that we have for today's deep dive. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.
Absolutely.
Bye.